New this morning on Local 6 today, dozens of people at a sports bar in Florida suddenly get sent into water. How a night out to enjoy some basketball turned chaotic. That's just ahead. Plus, a train derailment sent more than a dozen cars off track and forced a town near Louisville to evacuate this fall. We have new details on the investigation. That's next. And new regulations are about to take effect for truck drivers. Reaction from truckers in our area. Today is Friday, June 14th, 2013. Local 6 Today starts right now.
WPSD Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. This is Local 6 Today in high definition.
Good morning and thanks for joining us today. John, yesterday we had an overall nice day, but it was a little gloomy, I think. Time to go. All right, thanks, John. Okay. Here's a look at what's new this morning. An outdoor deck at a Florida sports bar collapses, sending dozens of people into water. About 100 people were on the deck when the structure suddenly gave way last night. Officials say 24 people were taken to area hospitals, with 2 of them in serious condition. Divers also searched the water underneath the deck to make sure no one was trapped. Now here's a look at the emergency response on the street. The restaurant lost power, so a helicopter was used to light up the scene. There's no word yet on what caused that collapse. The incident happened while customers were watching the Miami Heat play the San Antonio Spurs in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The city of Detroit begins discussions on its financial crisis today. The city's emergency manager, Kevin Orr, is calling together dozens of major city creditors for a historic meeting. Orr is expected to hand out copies of a 200-page proposal that addresses every financial obligation, including the bond department, pensions, and health care that could cost up to $17 billion. Well, several structures and vehicles are lost in a wildfire that burned in central California yesterday. The fire near Fresno ripped through trees and brush, charring 100 acres. Firefighters evacuated nearby residents, and animal control officers rescued some horses and cows. As of last night, fire officials said the fire is fully contained. We have new details this morning on last year's train derailment that forced a Louisville town to evacuate. Paducah and Louisville Railway say they found the cause. P&L confirmed yesterday that a rail break is to blame for the derailment of 13 cars in October. Some were carrying thousands of gallons of dangerous chemicals. The Federal Railroad Administration hasn't officially determined the cause of the incident. And moving to what's happening now, a group of local truck drivers are speaking out against new regulations that take effect next month. As of July 1st, truckers will have 12 fewer hours of driving time each week. They also have to sleep sometime between 1 and 5 in the morning. The new rules are to keep the truckers safe, but some drivers say the change will cut into their profit margin and also hurt customers.
The people are going to have to pay a higher price for the products they're receiving, from the groceries to the cars off the lots and everything in general, because it's going to be passed on to the public.
Buchanan also says the rest requirements pose safety risks because he often arranges his sleep schedule around rush hour in big cities. The Department of Energy is debating the future of Paducah's gaseous diffusion plant. The office currently has several proposals for the facility. The plant currently faces closure unless the department allows another business to take over the operation. USAC is already making moves to reduce its workforce in the coming months. And yesterday, Representative Ed Whitfield of Kentucky pressed the DOE Secretary, Ernest Moniz, about a long-term solution for the plant. Moniz agreed it is his department's policy to attempt to maintain the site. Well, after stranding 3,000 passengers without power and working bathrooms for nearly a week, the Carnival Triumph is sailing again. The cruise ship returned to the ocean yesterday, leaving Texas for a sold-out 4-day cruise to Mexico. Since the engine room fire, the ship underwent about $100 million worth of repairs and upgrades. Moving to what's happening next this morning, wheat crops should be ready for harvest early next week, and farmers expect a profitable year. The National Agricultural Statistics Service Field Office in Kentucky predicts the wheat harvest will be up 35% from last year, and here's why. Last year, farmers, they didn't have enough of corn crop to actually harvest, so they planted more wheat instead. Farmers also experienced a dry spring for the most part, which kept diseases at bay.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Minutes.
Okay, that woman right there, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and a few other lawmakers certainly got their groove on. They danced at yesterday's ceremony to honor Representative John Dingell as the longest-serving member of Congress. The highlight for many was a serenade from Detroit native Mary Wilson, one of the original Supremes. Who knew they could have so much fun? All right. Well, still ahead, it's going to be a sizzling day today at the nation's capital. That's because the Indiana Fever is headed to the White House. The look ahead to their visit is next. Remember, you're watching WPSD Local 6 today.
Your breaking news and weather authority with Marissa Hollowed and Weather Authority John Champion. You're watching Local 6 today in high definition.
Looking ahead this morning, Newtown residents paused today to remember the 26 people killed in the Sandy Hook shooting massacre. Today marks the 6-month anniversary of the attack. A moment of silence will be observed and church bells will ring at 8:30 this morning in honor of the victims. The community has also scheduled an interfaith service in the evening. Family members of some of the victims were in Washington this week to meet with members of Congress. The Faith and Freedom Coalition is set to host the Road to Majority Conference in Washington, D.C. Today's speakers will include Congressman Paul Ryan, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, Congressman Mark Sanford, and Donald Trump. The 3-day conference began yesterday. President Obama will welcome the WNBA champions to the White House this afternoon. The Indiana Fever beat the then defending champions Minnesota Lynx 87-78 last October to claim their first WNBA title. The Fever will lead a basketball clinic on the South Lawn with local school children following the event. One Direction causes an uproar in Miami Beach. What happened is coming up next in The Buzz. Plus, Superman takes flight to save the Earth this weekend. We'll take you on a mission with the Man of Steel next in the box office preview. And now for today's Wake Up Music, here's Superman by 5 for Fighting. In the Buzz this morning, the latest Superman movie is breaking box office records overseas. In the Philippines, Man of Steel had the nation's biggest opening ever, earning nearly $2 million. In Taiwan, it was the all-time highest opening day for any Warner Brothers film, beating out the Harry Potter series and the Dark Knight movies. Man of Steel opens in the U.S. today. NBC's Raphael Seth takes a look in the box office preview.
It's the box office preview. Raphael Seth, NBC News.
Well, some of the biggest names in country music are joining forces to help the Oklahoma tornado victims. Toby Keith this time is planning a relief concert for July 5th. The event will feature Willie Nelson, Trisha Yearwood, and Garth Brooks. Keith is a native of Moore, Oklahoma, and says the devastation is deeply personal to him. British boy band One Direction has angered some parents in Florida. They were in Miami Beach to shoot a video yesterday. Hundreds of teenage fans, you can see their fingers poking through the fence there. They were spending hours just camped out in the heat, hoping to catch a glimpse of the band. But One Direction didn't show up until hours later. Some parents were angry that the kids were just left waiting so long. Well, it's on to another rehab center for Lindsay Lohan. The actress checked out of the Betty Ford Center yesterday. She was ordered to spend 90 days at the California clinic, but after just 30 there, she transferred to a different facility. Before the start of her treatment, Lohan said another trip to rehab is, quote, pointless. So far, she spent almost a year in drug and alcohol rehab facilities. Lohan's attorney released a statement saying Lohan looks forward to continuing her treatment elsewhere and building on the foundation she established at Betty Ford. Miley Cyrus's parents are splitting after 19 years of marriage. Billy Ray Cyrus and Tish made the announcement in a statement yesterday. The couple had separated in 2010 before Billy Ray said they were reconciling. Including Miley, the couple has 5 children. Now to sports, here's Jeff Bidwell.
I'm Jeff Bidwell. It's your sports update. Have a great day.
It is 4:52 and time for our question of the day. We're focusing on fathers this morning because Sunday is Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day early. How about that? Well, the first Father's Day was celebrated in Spokane, Washington at the YMCA back in 1910 by Sonora Smart Dodd. Her father, a Civil War veteran, was a single parent who raised his 6 children all by himself.
So, in honor of all things fatherhood and the influence of Dads in society, we want you to brag about your dad. Why is your dad the best in the world?
You can join the conversation on our Facebook fan page, and
wanna
we'll
know
share your thoughts.
And we want to know specifics. What makes your dad the best?
Very sweet today, but before we get to today's viral video, there's a song that you should hear first.
And you'll be with
Don't miss a special performance from a fan of this video. That's just ahead. You're watching WPSD Local 6 today. Before we went to the break earlier, we played you a little song, and a pet bird is apparently a big fan of that tune. Impressive. This is Po, the cockatiel that lives in Japan. Now it's singing the theme song to the animation My Neighbor Totoro, and we let you hear a bit of the original track earlier. The bird keeps repeating the song. It actually forces its owner to keep playing on the keyboard, kind of pecks at him. And it's kind of really appropriate that we're playing this today because the OMG Con Anime Convention is in town today, and we're going to have some fun on the show.
It means
later.
crazy costumes. It means we're going to be seeing some weird things and some weird people walking around.
Interesting.
Weird?
Not weird, but dressed up,
Yeah, I like
costumed, makeup, weird.
It's fun.
Yeah.
She came back with weird again.
Weird. Sorry.
4 times. Thanks, Marissa.
It's going to be fun.
It sure be fun. Have fun.
Well, here's what's new this morning on Local 6 today. Wildfires in the west seem to be getting worse. The latest on the Black Forest fire that has now killed 2 people straight ahead.
Plus the latest on the search for Edward Snowden. The Chinese government could soon be trying to find him first. We'll explain why next.
And the Obama administration is stepping up aid for the Syrian rebels. Reaction from lawmakers just ahead. You're watching WPSD Local 6 today.